Hey, what's going on, everybody? Super excited to be here. We are doing a watch along for Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1, and then we're also going to do Part 2. And then tomorrow, we'll see if we get to Part 3. I heard from Zach that after Part 2, I might be so upset that I may not want to watch the rest of it.
He said too, yeah, that during during the middle of 2, you might just get up and just give up.
So I put out a poll on Twitter and asked people, hey, would you guys like us to do a reaction to this? If we do it, it might just be me. I brought Emily along as the other sacrifice, the other witness of what's about to happen here. So full disclosure, I have seen this first part of Crisis on Infinite Earths. We got to see it a little bit early, and I rewatched it this morning.
Okay.
But I do have, there are things that I want to comment on. So going into Part 2, that'll be like a fresh, I haven't seen it. I've done everything I can to stay off of Twitter because people have been spoiling some stuff. So nothing big was spoiled.
I've mainly seen more Watchmen spoilers than Crisis spoilers.
Watchmen was hugely spoiled for me. I'm not going into Crisis on Infinite Earth with the expectation that it's going to be a carbon copy of the comic book, just like they did with Crisis on Earth X and the other crossovers. It's their way of adapting those stories into the TV world. So I'm not necessarily going into this with like any expectations other than hoping that it's really fun.
Yeah, that it's like a fun, super celebratory crossover that kind of celebrates all the CW DC shows.
Exactly. And we know Arrow's ending with, I believe it's episode 8, and I don't know if the Crisis episode will be the last one. It might be. But, you know, regardless of all that, I don't think you need to necessarily have to watch every episode that exists from all of these shows to enjoy this. I have always felt like the Crisis or the crossover episodes have done a really good job giving you a little bit of like a summary of like what's happened up to this point. So I'm pretty sure we'll be okay. I'm just here to celebrate DC and the legacy of what it means to be a part of this multiverse, because I think it's really cool that they're doing this. Also, by the way, if you want to watch the full version of this where we react to the entire episode, check that out on our Patreon. On YouTube, we're going to do the summarized little short 15-minute version, but the full 40-plus minute version you'll be able to find on our Patreon, patreon.com/hyperrpg. And if you would like us to do more of this type of stuff, leave a comment on our Patreon and let us know, and let's just get into it. So again, if you don't understand the concept of the multiverse, they do a good job of explaining it here.
Yeah.
Like, this is great. This is great. This is a perfect way to bring people up to speed as to what's happened if they've literally never seen any of these shows.
Now the entire multiverse is about to come under attack.
Gosh, give me that good music.
You put Robert Wool in here, and I'm like, that's great.
I love it.
The only thing that's like people have been pointing out is like, Batman killed Joker in this world. This was a surprise. I was not expecting Titans to have a cameo in this.
Oh yeah, I don't think
9.
Anybody was.
And then Earth X this is Nazi Earth, which like good riddance.
There are those who say I have schemed.
My favorite.
Time for preparation is past.
I met Burt Ward. He's a sweet guy.
Crisis is now upon us all.
Holy crimson skies of death!
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's just like a little.
I guess my only question is like, how will this affect Titans in the future, if at all? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they're gonna.
Hello, Will Wheaton. This is a nice Superman 2.
I know, Superman 2.
Yeah.
That's Will Wheaton?
Yep.
Oh, shoot. I am curious to see if Titans will even reference Crisis or like.
It might or may not.
Tip the hat, a nod.
I mean, my thoughts on this are, I think the only reason they did, not only, but one of the one of the big pulls, I think, was this was a great way for them to unify Supergirl and the Flash's world together. So Superman can now exist with Supergirl on Earth 1.
Gosh, I love her also, her newest outfit
awesome.
Upgrade.
I wasn't sure about it at first, and then I saw
It
a
looks
photo, and I was
so
like, oh, this is great. Yeah. And it looks much closer to what Superman's costume looks like.
And like, I really like Supergirl's like skirt outfit too, but this to me seems like, I like that it's kind of heralding the next age of Supergirl.
Yeah.
So this is the future Superman show, right?
Unless something happens in this, I don't know. Jonathan Kent.
What do you think? Front page news?
I mean, I think it's a little lowbrow for Lois Lane.
Lowbrow?
These two are fun. I really like them as Superman
They
and
have a
Lois.
really nice chemistry.
Yeah, they're great.
Need I remind you, Miss Lane, I have no powers here.
Oh, don't you be blaming this on the red sun, honey.
Yeah, Daddy did it. Yeah, kind of.
Lois wanted to make sure that she didn't have to push out a super baby and break her.
Oh gosh, so they go. That is a concern.
Cal, Lois, thank God.
And you said that this is.
So Erica Durance, yeah, she played Lois Lane on Smallville, but she plays Supergirl's mom on this show.
We haven't gotten there in Smallville
She
yet.
She was not the original actress that played her.
Oh really?
Yeah. This is I like.
I couldn't believe this.
Yeah.
This is a.
There are no others. Only this one.
This is This is a very much
This is the
This is
Superman.
the Superman, yeah.
Superman.
This is also, if you have not been watching Watchmen, this is also a part of Watchmen, and it's done beautifully too.
And you said this dialogue is
Yeah, it's
from.
from Superman the movie. So this is where Oliver was before he came back to Star City to become the Green Arrow. This is where he like trained basically.
On an island.
Yeah.
But you're not now?
And this is his daughter.
Yes.
This is an emotional moment.
I
Well, I
mean,
feel like this
it's the passing of the
crisis is like
torch.
it's kind of the toast of
Yeah.
the toast off to the send off to
yeah,
Arrow.
exactly. See, what I like about this is like we had Smallville, we had Superman and Green Arrow, but he wasn't Superman yet. He was Clark Kent and Green Arrow, and they weren't at these stages of their lives where they had kids. So this is like a nice evolved version of like we have Superman proper, Green Arrow. They both have kids. They can have more adult conversations because they've aged. See, these characters deal with the same stuff that like normal people do. So when people ask me like, when people make the statements how Superman is not relevant, I'm like, man, there's so many things that he goes through that are very human, and
Well-
things that he goes through that are not very human.
Well, it's like his superpower is his humanity. It's that he is the best of all of us.
Exactly.
So is this their Earth in the future, or is this a different Earth in
No,
the
this is
future?
Earth 16.
Earth 16.
Yeah. Oliver, the main Earth is Earth 1,
Okay.
which has Flash and Arrow, and Batwoman. Supergirl's from Earth 38. And then this is Earth 16.
Is this where the Defenders are on?
The who?
The Defenders?
The Legion of Superheroes?
It's just a long
The Legend of Tomorrow.
No, they're also from Earth 1.
Okay. I totally thought they were going to age up the baby, or they were going to
I
do
thought so,
something
too.
with Jonathan.
I thought they were
was
gonna-
so surprised that they were
Yeah.
like, nope, he's still a baby.
I thought they were going
He's
to show
still
up.
real cool.
I thought they were going to show up and he's like, "Where's my son?" "I'm Superman." I'd be like, "Oh, sure."
Or he's like, I'm the next Green Arrow. He
Yeah.
was like trained to be Green Arrow or something.
Oh.
That would have been cool. I don't know. That's crazy though.
The one thing that this show corner cuts a lot is they show John Jones, but they don't show Martian Manhunter very much. And I'm like, let him be fucking Martian Manhunter for the crossover.
I wonder if
Let
we'll
the
get
man
that.
be
Like,
green.
will we get it? You think?
Oh, I'm sure we will at some point.
They really do kind of keep. Even though this is supposed to be the Supergirl episode, they really kind of
Yeah.
do a lot of build up for Arrow.
He's deserved it. I mean, it's because of Arrow that this universe even exists.
What's happening out there? The skies are red again, the antimatter wave is moving, and the portal isn't open yet.
There's more shadow demons incoming.
Kara, Clark, get to the roof.
Okay.
Tower operational again. We'll stay behind and hold them off.
No.
Superman can't hang.
He's a weak boy.
How dare you?
It's just because he's been on Argo City.
How dare you? I'm actually surprised he has any powers, considering how long he's been.
Yeah.
He was on Argo City.
You did it. The tower's working again and the portal's open.
There's 3 super people technically here right now.
Didn't actually stop the wave, it just slowed it down.
Just wait till he shows up as Superman.
I'm
15 minutes
stoked.
before it makes contact with Earth.
Better make every minute count.
Hi.
Let's do it.
All right, get to the ships. Keep your
Oh gosh.
for debris, people. Keep it orderly, people. Come on.
Jimmy Olsen.
Aww. I do like how they were in a nice little
These are
line,
cool shots.
and then they were in a circle.
Yeah, I think those
I
shots
do
are
like
really
I
cool.
like these kind of POV GoPro
Yeah.
shots. I like those are
Those
fun.
Also, this actor, I think his name is LaMonica Garrett. He's ripped as fuck.
Yeah. Bye. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Earth 1. Earth 1.
Yeah. Bye. 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 Bye.
Oliver, it is time. Has the planet been evacuated yet? Not entirely. Then it's not time.
Dang.
Also, it does seem a little silly that in a world where Superman exists, Green Arrow is the one making the last stand of like, I ain't nothing over till it's over. I'm like, okay. But
I know, but it's like this. It's the CW universe.
Yeah, it's his universe. Like he
Yeah.
started it, so of course
He
that makes
gets
sense.
it, yeah.
Yeah, of course he gets it.
Oh.
Shit.
Oliver. He fought to his last breath, knowing every moment was another life saved.
Saved?
Your universe is no more. Of 7.53
Dang.
billion. 3 billion souls
That's
made it to
not
Earth
that much.
on the armada of ships. I calculate 1 billion souls survived due to his noble sacrifice.
So yeah, the question is like, how are they gonna do those next couple of Arrow episodes?
It was not
Ruh-roh.
supposed to be like this. This is not his ending I foresaw.
Who is this?
Differently than expected. But one thing is certain. Everything we know, everything there is, and everything there ever was.
I will say the music of this special is really good.
Yeah.
I'm loving the music in like every scene.
Yeah. So that character Pariah, he's in the comics, but in the show, Tom Cavanaugh plays him, and Tom Cavanaugh played Harrison Wells in The Flash, who we find out was the Reverse Flash.
That's right.
Yeah, and then he ends up playing other characters from other Earths throughout the rest of the seasons. So he's appeared as different characters, but I think they really did it just so they could have Tom Cavanaugh come back, and
Yeah.
again and again and again, which is great because I really like him. I think he's awesome on the show. He's a great actor. He's now directed a few episodes, but let's talk about this. Let's talk about
Alright.
this crossover for
Let's
a
talk
hot
about.
dog in minute. What did you think?
I think it does. I mean, first episode is the first episode in like every and every kind of like finale or like big crossover, especially if it's a crossover across multiple episodes, is the setup. So I think it does a really great job of setting up kind of our core team. We know we're going to get some extra people along the way, but I thought it did a pretty good job of kind of setting everybody up. There were some moments, of course, I think with the baby, I'm like, okay, this is clearly just to have a White Canary and this other Green Arrow so that they're having a moment. We're letting all these different Green Arrows kind of have these really nice moments. But yeah, it does a really good job of, I think, setting the stakes and kind of, showing everybody and kind of showing how we're going to keep going and how, now we don't know anything. Everything's off the table now.
Yeah.
Nothing is as it was foreseen.
Well, and I think also, being that's the part one of Crisis on Infinite Earths, I'm pretty happy with the fact that the opening sort of like prologue piece shows us glimpses into other Earths. But at the same time, I'm really happy that this first episode stuck with the OGs. You have main characters from Arrow, Supergirl, Batwoman, and Legends of Tomorrow, and I'm kind of glad that that's where it stayed.
Yeah.
Because I think if you would have brought in, Brandon Routh as Superman, Tom Welling, Kevin Conroy, any other major cameos that are going to be surprises potentially in future episodes, I think if you would have brought them in part one, it would have been too much.
Too much, yeah.
And I think this episode, it is very fast. Like,
Gosh,
it
it's just like it gets to it.
moves.
We send the baby off. Now we're
Yeah.
here. Where's the baby? We gotta go find the baby. We found the baby. We're back.
And I think sometimes it's tough with these CW shows too, because they don't necessarily, they're not made in a way where Crisis on Infinite Earths is like the big 2-part, 3-part finale of the season. It's in the middle. It's literally in the middle of the whole season. And whatever happens once we come back from break in January, that'll sort of dictate where the show will then move forward as it goes into its spring finale. And I think that what makes that different from shows that are on digital streaming services like Watchmen and, you know, some of the other Marvel shows and some of the other DC shows that we've seen, they all, like Crisis on Infinite Earths would be their finale. So they do a lot, like this is episode 9, I believe, of Supergirl and Batwoman. And by that point, we're going into season finale territory for most digital series.
Yeah, for this to be in the middle.
Yeah, and this is the middle. So there is a little part of me that wishes, you know, part of me really wishes that we could shorten these seasons and make them like 9 to 11 episodes and tell one story that you can sort of interweave between all the shows, but the shows can still be about what they are, and then really build up and build up and build up so you can do a lot more of seed planting. They do it in these CW shows, and sometimes it's over a long course of time, sometimes it's over a short course of time, but I think because they don't necessarily want people to have to watch 8 episodes or 10 episodes of this crossover, they try to do it in the shortest amount possible. 5 is still quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, but it makes sense because that's how many shows they have running right now. They have Batwoman, Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. So it makes sense to give
And
each
a
of
little
those
bit of
shows.
Titans.
Yeah, well, but I mean the shows that take place in the same
Yeah.
story, I guess. It's not the same continuity, but the same story. So it makes sense to me that they would give each of those shows a little piece of Crisis, because I think last year when they did Crisis on Earth X, I think every show except for, well, Batwoman wasn't on back then, but I think Supergirl, Flash, Arrow dealt with Crisis on Earth X, and I don't think there was a Legends of Tomorrow episode. I think.
Interesting.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember exactly, but I think that's how it was. So now that they have these 5 shows going concurrently, they can now spread this crossover over 5 episodes. And I think the big advantage that they have is like it's an episode a day. It's not 5 weeks.
Yes.
Because imagine if this was over the course of like 5 weeks that you were watching the story unfold.
I think then you'd have
Could
to
be
almost
cool, but
yeah, I think then you'd have to be like, okay, let me go back and watch, because they, like you
Yeah.
said, they give you so much during these
Yeah.
episodes that it isn't something where it's like, oh, I could just watch like previously on and be
Yeah.
caught up. It's like, no, I need to rewatch the entire episode before I go into the next episode to really be fully immersed and caught up on what all is happening.
And even though these shows are an hour long on TV, they're only about 43 minutes. So this show is not that much longer than The Mandalorian. It's just the fact that it's got commercial breaks that makes it feel longer. But it's about the same time. Like Mandalorian has episodes that span, I think it's like 30. I think the longest episode's like 41 minutes. So that's also challenging, that you're putting 5 hours of story and not really into 5 hours. It's more like 2 or 2.5 hours. That's a challenge. So I think that's why this episode very much is like, we got to set up stuff really, really quick. We got to get into it. We got to tell all the stuff.
Get out,
We got to give Oliver a story. We got to give Kara and Superman their story. We got to give Flash something to do, even though he doesn't do too much. But I think that's going to sort of be explored more and more and more as we get to his episode. The next episode we have is Batwoman. And Zach told me that if I make it through this, he'll be surprised because he has a feeling that I'm going to shut this off after this episode. I'm a little nervous.
I give you free reign to get up and leave this couch if you feel so inclined.
That's not good. That's not good. But guys, so we're going to jump over to Chapter 2 of Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is the Batwoman episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see the full video, go to patreon.com/hyperrpg. If you're on Patreon, you became a hyper homie just so you could watch this. Thank you so much for your support. We do a podcast every week on The Mandalorian. We just finished one up for Titans Season 2. And with your guys' help, we would love to continue expanding that. When we get to 400 patrons, we are going to put out a poll for a brand new set of shows, and we'll pick one to do. I think Watchmen will probably be on there, which means that Watchmen will more than likely end up winning, which I'm fine with. Yes, I have seen it. Hector has seen it. Augustine has not seen it. But we would love the opportunity to talk about that show because it is incredible.
Loving Watchmen.
It's absolutely amazing. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Get all the latest notifications for all the brand new videos that we do. If you're watching on Patreon, make sure you got your notifications turned on. when we drop a new video. Bye-bye.
Until part 2.